Nothing is going to stop a band of hard rockers from making it to an important gig. Not a family of murderous Nazis. Not death. Not a small town populated by zany character actors and bad sketch comedy. And especially not a grossly inappropriate love story.
The f is this? Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and however else you wish to self-identify, to the f is this? The podcast where we're watching you through your webcam. Wait. Hold on, wait.
Dude!
Hold on, wait. The podcast where we're not watching you through your webcam. Okay,
that's better.
I'll edit that earlier part out.
I think we taught that in time.
That would have been disastrous. For the bigger thing that we have going on that this podcast is just a front for.
I mean, like...
I'll also edit this part
How
out.
else are we supposed to get our black market currency coming through us on the Silk Road? You know all that with the Bitcoin and everything?
We can do like the traditional way.
Just like rob a bank.
Good old-fashioned slave labor.
I
don't know much about the Silk Road.
I don't know much. I know...
It sounds racist.
I know it was too late for me to buy into Bitcoin when I first heard about it. That's all I really know.
Oh, okay. So the Silk Road is something completely different from what I assume that it is.
Isn't that just like the network that it's on?
Isn't that like the Trail of Tears?
Oh man,
I don't know.
Oh, I hope not.
Welcome back to the podcast where
Let us know in the comments.
Where we don't do our research and are too lazy to look up ourselves. I'm Kaz Lesgard, and with me as always is Jameson Rafter. How's it going, Jameson?
Not too shabby. Happy, I don't know.
Happy something or other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We always tend to record these on like a long weekend or a holiday or something.
Right.
Yeah. Salutations, and I hope things are well.
Greetings, yes. Yes. To all of you at home, we say hello.
How are you doing?
Hello. We got something special for you today. We got a little treat. A year ago, when we were doing this podcast, we realized a little too late that we hadn't quite figured out when the best time to do a Halloween episode might be, and we recorded one. I think we ended up releasing it in December or something. It was still our... So yeah, back when we were in the early stages and we didn't quite know what we were doing. Not like now. Not like now, where this is a well-oiled machine.
I'm sitting here wondering where you're going with this.
Well, if we had our shit together a little bit more, it might have been fun if we could have done something a little bit bigger with our Halloween episode. Perhaps an entire month of Halloween-related episodes. And the more I thought about it, the more I kept coming back to one singular idea, something that's always bothered me, and that's the fact that as soon as Halloween ends, on November 1st, even before November 1st now.
Certain stores all throughout the entire year. Yeah.
They start cramming that Christmas down your throat. November, a full month before I feel, anyway, that the Christmas season
you're in the holly jolly
should
spirit.
start. And I always feel burnt out by that time, because by November 1st, there's just Christmas shit everywhere.
Yeah, because they want to entice you to get into the stores. But it gets to be like it's obnoxious that you hear like Christmas carols for 3 months until like the one day that it happens, and then it all stops.
Right.
If you are to believe the right wing pundits that there is a war on Christmas, Christmas is winning.
Yes.
And it is already annexed to the other months.
I mean, the ironic thing is that it's actually not a terrible idea to start mentioning Christmas around November, because inevitably what always happens to me is, by maybe the 15th of December, I'm always, damn it, I still need to get 8 things before I go home to see the family and everything.
You're the guy
Why didn't I start an entire month earlier?
Yeah.
If only there was a sign!
Oh no, it's December 23rd, and I haven't done all my shopping, and the malls are closing.
Wow.
Wow.
But anyway, my point is that if big business gets to shove Christmas down our throats on November 1st, then you know what? We should have 2 whole months of Halloween. Which is why, welcome to the first annual, maybe,
we'll see how it goes.
The fuck is this? 2 whole months of Halloween spooktacular! That's right. Hopefully by the time that this is released, it is in early September. That's what we're aiming for anyway. And you're getting 2 whole months of Halloween-related material.
Lucky you. Gorge yourself on this candy.
Because I fucking said so.
Mm-hmm.
If I haven't mentioned this before on this podcast, I really love the crap out of Halloween.
Oh.
Halloween is my birthday.
Oh, no way.
I am born on October 31st.
I think I knew that.
Yeah. I think I probably mentioned that
at
some
That's
point.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. And, like, most people, I had the idea, like, back in my college days, like, why isn't Halloween celebrated more times out of the year? Because I am not one for, like, cosplay or anything like that, but I love dressing up for Halloween. And I figure, like, when's a bad time to put on, like, goofy costumes and run around in the dark? The early stages of winter. When's a great time to do that? Right in the middle of summer. That's why I say, like, Halloween in July,
Well, I'd argue that's why we had Pride.
True
it's
enough.
basically Halloween in the middle of summer.
Mm-hmm.
Except there's a
unifying theme, and there's not a whole lot of pirates and superheroes walking around.
Well, there are, but they're sexy pirates.
Yes,
it's basically Pride is basically Halloween, except everyone's dressed sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're gonna do 2 whole months, and the way that this is going to work is, if it were up to me, I have a multitude of weird, bizarre Halloween-themed movies. I could program an entire podcast of just Halloween movies alone.
What the hell am I doing here?
Because I didn't want to load this down. I try not to load this down with all of my material. So here's how we're going to do things.
You're a gracious host.
I'm a very gracious host and a very giving friend. So for the month of October, I'm going to spearhead that, and I've got 3 movies, at least 3 movies. Maybe we can sneak in a 4th, but I'm not. Right now, let's not bite off more than we can chew off the. Let's not bite off more than we can Charleston chew. That was a Halloween, because that's a candy.
Okay.
Moving on. Yeah, so for the month of September, I figured I'd hand the reins over to Jameson.
Yeah.
So this is an entire month of Jameson-programmed movies that have a Halloween theme to it, because I felt like giving them a challenge.
Because you felt, what better way to shoehorn this, like, Halloween idea in the wrong month than to a guy who's, like, really awkward about this kind of stuff.
Yep.
All right.
That was my plan all along.
All right. Well, I will. I'm looking forward to this. I have a small handful of collection.
That's all we need.
Yeah,
just a small handful
of some riotous Halloween movies.
Ooh,
yeah.
Riotous.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, good.
They'll be good for a laugh. They'll be good for a scare.
Get
Buyer beware, you're in for. Oh fuck!
You did that last Halloween, and the litigation papers from R.L. Stein still haven't stopped coming.
Come at me, bro. I'm not afraid. Your books didn't scare me as a kid. I'm not afraid of you as a man. Yeah. Isn't R.L. Stein a real guy, or is that sort of like the pen?
No, R.L. Stein's an actual dude.
That's what I thought.
He hosted the Goosebumps TV show.
He did, yeah.
He was there in the flesh, so he's alive.
Right on.
Yes.
Is he still alive?
I think so, yeah. I think he's reaping that Jack Black money.
Okay. No, Jack Black is reaping that R.L. Stein
money.
But
he has to give a little bit of it to R.L. Stein.
Oh, poor guy.
And vice versa. Did you see that Goosebumps movie?
I did not. It didn't look like it was my bag. But
there's one scene at the end that it's not very good, but there is one scene at the because Jack Black plays R.L. Stein, and at the end of the movie he goes to a school.
To meet the real R.L. Stein?
No, he goes to a school, and there's just like one very brief thing where he passes someone in the hallway, and the person goes, "Hello, Mr. Stein," and he goes, "Oh, hello, Mr. Black," and I'm just like, that's R.L. Stein then.
Okay.
Good cameo. Good
playing Jack Black.
You know what? I like it.
Where he's doing like high kicks and like shredding on guitar.
Oh, that was a real missed opportunity. That's what I want to see.
All right. Well, our guest is en route here. So the next time, how do we want to reveal?
Well, why don't you introduce our guest, and then through the magic of editing, they'll be right here next to us.
Sounds good. So I'll wait to talk about the movie until he's here, because he'll want to hear this too. Our special guest for this evening is a longtime friend of mine. Where do I begin to describe his career? He was a radio DJ on Virgin Radio, where he was voted by the Georgia Strait in 2015 as the best late night radio host.
Wow.
Yeah. He was on a food review program on YouTube called The Dish. In 2017, he was the winner of a Canadian short film festival, How the Grinch Stole Christmas from Vancouver. And he and I are currently collaborating on my upcoming animated mini-series that you did a voice on.
I did.
Yeah, that's it.
What's the name of that?
It's currently untitled, but the running title that we're going for right now is Bigfoot is Real 100% Proof.
Oh, I like that.
Anyways, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kevin Getz.
Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Welcome to my place, which I don't think you've been here since you did some voice work for me for one of the Kilroy cartoons.
No, I've been here a few times.
for
when we were
when I was not here.
You weren't here. Yeah.
You were sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came by. No, when we were writing the original drafts for
Right.
Bigfoot.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we were pitching our throwing ideas back and forth.
Yeah, that's the last
Bigfoot
time I was here,
cartoon.
which seems like forever ago.
It has been a long time that we've been cranking on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like forever ago
Mhm.
because it was a forever ago.
It was. We kept adjusting the story, like writing all the characters.
I stopped keeping track. Originally, it was like, oh, we're done
designing
draft
the characters,
1.
redesigning the characters.
We're done draft 2.
Mhm.
We're done draft 3. Why are we still working on this? Now draft 4.
And then by that time, I was like, we got to do a full page 1 rewrite on this because I'm not happy with it.
Yeah,
And,
so it was forever ago when we wrote the original outline.
the making of this Bigfoot is going to be a fascinating documentary.
It would probably be a really.
It's going to be
thing.
longer than like the actual cartoon.
It will.
It'll be your
Apocalypse Now redone.
yes, but what's the name of that documentary? It's like Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness. It'll be your Heart of Darkness.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'll be like a 2-hour comprehensive documentary about the making of a. How long is your cartoon?
It'll be about 50 minutes when it's all said
damn.
and done.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll
All right,
across
cool.
like 5 episodes.
Yeah, roughly around 10 minutes each.
All telling one continuous story.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Very ambitious.
Yes, it's
Cool.
got a beginning, middle, and an end.
Awesome. Well, I guess we've thrown the plugs in at the beginning of the episode now.
Absolutely.
Great, we can end early. So yeah, Kevin, on this show we watch strange, baffling, weird, fucked up movies filled with recognizable actors that you're not sure how they ended up, or complete and total fucking nobodies.
And what do we got today?
Well, we'll get into that. But before we get into that, what are some of your favorite movies that are like that?
I've never been a huge movie guy. I always tell people I've never seen their favorite movie.
Right.
So if I were to ask you what your favorite movies are, I'd be like, I've probably never seen that.
Okay. That leads me into my follow-up question.
Yep.
What are you doing here? No,
I was invited.
Sorry.
It's a weird thing where people are like, what are your favorite movies? I'm like, yeah, I've seen movies. I know movies. I've seen a couple. I know some actors. But I'm never that guy who's like, have you seen this one obscure film with this? And I'm like, no.
I've never even heard of it.
No.
Have you seen a strange movie before?
Like a B movie or a cult classic? Because if the answer is no, then I'm really looking forward to your reaction to this movie.
I mean, I've seen, like, the popular cult classic films and, like, Rocky Horror and, like, the films everyone's like, oh, it's so bad, it's good. And I'm like, yeah, it's not great.
We aren't going to get into words about Rocky Horror because Rocky Horror is a flawless masterpiece, and I will fight anyone who says
You wouldn't be the first.
You're not going to go down that road. You've learned your lesson.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for Kevin's first movie ever, which is what? Did Jameson explain to you that this is our Halloween episode?
No.
Yes. Jameson, what are we watching today?
Today we are watching the 1985 horror classic Hard Rock Zombies, released like right in the middle of that whole satanic panic of the 80s.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the 80s? Or was... Oh, yeah, right, that was the 80s. I was confusing the satanic panic of the 80s
with the satanic panic of the 70s?
Yes, with the whole, like, Manson thing. Because that
Yeah.
was, like, strictly, like, the 70s
No,
and whatnot.
this is
like,
right.
Yes.
This is right in that era of like heavy metal, Dungeons and Dragons, like taking kids away from church kind of stuff.
All of those things that North America was worried was going to turn their kids into Satanists, but in reality, the majority of it had nothing to do with Satanism whatsoever.
Exactly.
And really, when you boil down the principles of Satanism, it's actually about, togetherness and inclusivity, and it actually has better morals than most organized Catholic and Christian religions. That's a podcast for a different day. Tell us more about this movie, please.
I don't want to hear more about the tenets of Satanism there.
I don't know enough. I would just be reheating other conversations that I've heard in the past.
All right. Well, this is directed by an Indian fella named Krishna Shah. According to his IMDb, if it is to be believed, he was the first Asian American writer/director who had won acclaim on Broadway and Hollywood.
Oh, all
I
right.
don't know if that's true or not.
Okay.
One of the plays he did was a South African play called Sponono, Sponono.
Yeah.
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 And also he did another off-Broadway
I hope
play.
it was really bad, and then the critics just savaged it, and then the reviews for it were just no. It just writes itself.
I guess his Hollywood success includes being a writer for shows like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Flying Nut, and The $6 Million Man.
All right.
So that's some success. And he'd only directed like a handful of movies. This one that we're about to watch, and a film called American Drive-In. Hard Rock Zombies is the film within the film of American Drive-In.
Oh, so it's the machete of its day.
So what happened was, like, American Drive-In was like a screwball comedy in the vein of, like, Porky's and various other
Hamburger the Motion Picture.
movies that we've watched on this podcast. Hard Rock Zombies was 20 minutes long and was the feature movie in American Drive-In, according to IMDb. At some point during production, the decision was made to invest more money and come out with 2 full feature-length films instead of 1. And I found Hard Rock Zombies on, like, at a fan expo. I fell in love with the box art, and I watched it, and I had no idea that was the backstory to this movie.
How can you not fall in love just with the title of Hard Rock Zombies? So American Drive-In, is that when that exists? So is Hard Rock Zombies still part of that movie? Or did they decide when they were making it that we're going to take this out of American Drive-In, we're going to make it its own thing, and American Drive-In is its own thing? Is American Drive-In like a vignette movie, like Kentucky Fried Movie, or...?
I'm not exactly sure. I didn't even know such a movie existed until I looked on IMDb.
Until earlier this morning.
Yeah, exactly. But look at this box art. It's a zombie bursting out of a grave with a guitar and with a lightning striking it. It's badass.
It's nice.
Mm.
He looks like... What does he look like? I was about to say Lemmy, but he doesn't really look like Lemmy.
I think he looks like one of the guys from Spinal Tap.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
This movie fucking wishes it was as funny as Spinal Tap.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good sign.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I begged Kaz not to look into this movie whatsoever.
Yeah, I've got nothing.
There's a bit of a twist in this movie, and I kind of want.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is our Shyamalan episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as for like notable people in this movie, really, there's not a whole lot. I would say the biggest name is actually ironic. Well, I don't even know if ironic's the right word for it, but the biggest name is a little person actor who named Phil Fontaine.
I see where you were going with that, and I'm glad you abandoned the joke.
Yeah, his name is Phil Fondacaro. He had a recurring role as Roland on Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh yeah, I know that character. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was also in Willow, and he played an Ewok in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Because, 80s little person actor, so...
But because of that, that guy in the movie has, like, the biggest filmography of anyone else in the movie.
Yeah.
Everyone else had, like, one movie, and then they quit. There was one guy who, like, I guess the chief of police, or the sheriff in this movie, went on to play a fat cop in Terminator 2, and there's, like, a good-looking lady in the town who went on to be, like, some scream queen of the 80s.
I'm trying to remember Fat Cop from Terminator 2. That sounds like a fairly prominent character.
Fat cop.
Fat cop.
Get down.
Get down on the floor. All right, hold on. Let me just undo my belt first. Oh, God damn it. Frickin' cyborgs.
All right, thoughts on this, Kevin?
I see lightning.
Mm-hmm.
I see zombies. I see guitar and bats.
I see bats. Are there bats in the movie?
I don't think so. I don't think there's even lightning in the movie.
Fucking fragrant false advertising.
I'm going to tell you right now, there's barely any rock music in this movie.
What?
Hard rock zombie.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Hard rock. There's barely any hard rock in this movie.
How do you define hard rock? What's a band that you feel exemplifies the genre of hard rock?
Motorhead.
Right.
So we're softer than Motorhead.
Very much so.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So going to this thinking of like Motorhead and AC/DC, and then
classic metal,
and then once the zombies start playing, be very surprised.
I mean, like actual metal bands that have like satanic influences in like their album art and their songs, and that's what I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of like Raising the Dead through the power of rock and
fucking Witchfinder General.
What?
Oh, you never. Oh, you gotta get on Spotify and listen to some fucking Witchfinder General. That's fucking.
That sounds like a fucking rank.
It's awesome. It's also the name of a movie with Vincent Price, which I believe is where they got the name from.
And is that going to be a future episode?
I think that's a little too well known.
Okay.
I believe I have a book
it's
that's
new to me,
like.
Damn it.
I would say I've never heard of it, but I don't know what that.
I haven't watched it either, but I have a book at home that's one of those 1001 movies you need to see before you die. And I believe Witchfinder General is in that book, and if it's in that book, we're not doing it on the show. It's too good.
I got you. All right, then, without further ado, I think I'll...
Do you want to read the synopsis? As of the back of the box?
Let me read ahead here.
Without spoiling anything.
Okay. I'll read the first paragraph.
All right.
Jesse and his band are just a nice little heavy metal band playing clubs.
Oh, they're just a nice little heavy metal band. Oh, they're just good boys.
Until they break into the big time. when Cassie meets them backstage to warn them away from playing in Grand Guignol.
Oh.
Grand Guignol.
That's one of those words that I have seen spelled, but I don't know how you're supposed to say it either.
Yeah.
Guignol?
Yeah.
What is it? I don't know.
Or whatever. To warn them from playing in that place. Because the parents don't want that kind of influence on the children. They take it in stride as part of the game. And then it kind of goes into
and then everything else is a spoiler after that.
Then it goes into a Dusk Till Dawn.
All right, well, we're gonna watch Hard Rock Zombies, and we come back. We'll tell you all about that, and we'll also tell you the correct pronunciation for Grand Guignol and what that is exactly, because I have no fucking clue what that means.
I got it right the first time. You gotta believe me.
Guignol?
Guido.
Gandolfini.
Gandalf.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Let's talk more rock.
Welcome back.
So,
less rock, more talk.
I don't know why going into this, watching a movie called Hard Rock Zombies, it didn't occur to me that we were going to be watching an outright comedy. I really, as I'm sitting here, I didn't realize we were watching like a goofy comedy, and then like the split second later, I'm like, wait, Kaz, it's called Hard Rock Zombies. How did you not know? I guess I knew that it was going to be tongue-in-cheek in some way, but probably more on the line of, have you ever seen The Return of the Living Dead?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of figured it would be like that type of humor, and not so much Zucker Brothers kind of almost like vignette-y.
Yeah, very like a lot of like play on words, a lot of clever dialogue, a lot of character actors.
So many characters in this movie. Like when you think that the movie has run out of characters, all of a sudden it introduces like a room filled with characters that we haven't seen yet. Wait,
and then
who's talking?
And then we're watching a scene from a play. Like a very cleverly written play. Like the townsfolk when they're point of order, are we having a meeting or are we having a session? Like,
this emergency meeting of the Grand Guignol Town Council is called to order.
Point of order, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Junior Councilman?
According to the town charter, emergency sessions are all...
For those information, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Senior
Now, is this an emergency meeting or an emergency session?
Well,
Because you referred to it as a meeting, yet the good councilman to my left here called it a session. Now, which is it?
Excellent point, Mr. Senior Councilman. Council will vote. All those in favor of the meeting signify. Aye. Session signify. Aye. 1-1, Mr. Senior Councilman. Not voting?
No opinion, Mr. Chair.
For one line of dialogue in this movie, it becomes the Marx Brothers, and it's like that was a clever, well-written line, and then for the rest of it, it's just complete asinine nonsense.
Back to the point of order, which is, I don't remember. Oh, that I withdraw my point.
All right.
Kevin.
Yeah.
You don't watch too many movies, you say. What's your initial impression on this?
I would take this to be
experience?
possibly the reason why.
Yeah.
I don't watch a ton of especially B-type movies, but also the reason why maybe I should watch more B-type movies. It was entertaining.
Yeah, I wasn't
for the
bored.
wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I kind of
That's how they
get
put
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I'm kind of at a loss for words. So I'll be honest. Yeah, though that was just supremely goofy cheese that didn't take itself seriously for even a fraction of a second. It sort of made up its own rules as it went on, kind of for the hell of it, and it was interspersed with genuine moments of literal ickiness, but not of the blood and guts variety, more of like the, 1985, we should not be making jokes about this currently right now.
We should not be basing our entire central love story around a man in his early 20s and a 12-year-old.
Yes. Well, okay, her age is never specifically said outright, But yeah, the main
They go out of their way to say she's a young girl.
They say she's a young girl.
They write a song about how she's a young girl.
Yeah, the main hard rocker falls in love with this. And like, okay, to be fair, now in 2019, we're hyper depressingly aware of the fact that most of your favorite musicians had a thing for underage girls.
Yeah.
The list is depressingly long, but like, I didn't expect that to be a subplot in this movie.
And I still like to hope that society frowned on that kind of thing back when this movie was made.
I don't know, man. Everyone knew about Jerry Lee Lewis marrying his 13-year-old cousin, and no one said shit about that. So I kind of feel like that's just been an open secret that everyone's been burying their head in the sand.
We're not here to talk about Jerry Lee Lewis. We're here to talk about hard rock zombies.
Right.
Who would like the honors to recap this plot? I've seen this movie several times, and
well, I feel like you're the best person for it then.
Okay, fine.
Because I'm not going to remember. Okay, what I did write down.
Consult your notes.
I did write down as this movie was going on other movies that this movie reminded me of, and I wanted to try to like blend it together into like a pitch line, but it didn't really work because it changed genres every like 10 minutes.
Movie plot reads like a fever dream.
Yeah.
You were there. You were there. Hitler was there.
Hitler was there.
The head of John Lennon and John Wayne and Marilyn Monroe were there, and
that's what it sounds like.
So it's very reminiscent of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the sense that there's a group of people who fall foul of a family of crazy, colorful murderers. So yeah, I kind of initially wrote, it's kind of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre by way of Eddie and the Cruisers, but then there's like a subplot pops up about there's like this town meeting where everyone sits down and they all vote to ban rock music, so I'm like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of Footloose in there. And then there's a weird dinner scene with all of the weird people, and there's an old patriarch who's and that reminded me of, did you ever see the Dan Aykroyd movie Nothing But Trouble?
No, but isn't that like infamously bad?
That is infamously bad, yeah. So it kind of reminded me of that at one point.
Of course you've seen it.
And then near the end, when it
becomes like a Day of the Dead kind of thing.
The plot, no.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't come close to an actual like zombie movie. No, by the end when people were just like running around and it just became like a series of weird vignettes happening, it basically became like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes or something like that. Like a twisted Monty Python, where there's like different sketches and they're all themed around like horror. Yeah. It's never a competent movie,
no,
at all, at any point from beginning to end. But there is a definitive moment when the movie just kind of gives up and just starts doing whatever the fuck it feels like.
All right, so. So the plot of this movie is there is a band, a nameless band.
Oh my god!
They name them.
They don't have a name.
They don't have a name, right?
I just realized that.
So there's this band of hard rockers who, I don't know, they sound like Huey Lewis in the News to me.
Yeah, they sometimes sound like that. They sometimes sound like the Police. Yeah. They use a lot of... I don't think like hard rock bands use a lot of synthesizers.
No.
It's not even close to the type of... Here's a snippet of, like, the first song that we hear them play.
Well, come on! Put your hands together! Shake, shake, shake it up, baby. Shake, shake, shake it up, baby. Shake, shake, shake it up, baby.
Did you like that song?
Fucking raging! Satan rides my bowels! I don't know. This is why I shouldn't freeform, but...
Well, I mean, listener, if you like that song, the movie plays it in its entirety.
Yeah.
Twice.
Multiple times.
Like the chorus of the song is literally, shake it up, baby! And it's like, when I'm watching a movie about hard rockers, the last thing I want to be reminded of is Shake Your Tail Feather from the Blues Brothers movie, but...
So they're going to a small town at the direction of their their hapless tour manager, who the band doesn't really seem to get along with. He seems more eager to get these guys signed than they seem eager to be a rock band. They don't want any kind of success, but it doesn't really seem like they don't mind being a band either.
There was a weird moment after their first concert where like the band manager comes back into the dressing room. All right, there was a great show. We have a bunch of young groupies out here. We gotta do like a photo shoot. We gotta like submit this so people will see that you're, like a hardcore band that everyone can get behind. And all collectively, they're all like, nah, we're not gonna do it.
Maybe it was you would think it was like the underage thing that they were like.
You would think that.
Apparently not, because on their way to the town, the frontman of the band meets a little girl named Cassie.
He meets her at that concert because the manager lets all of the screaming girls into the dressing room, and they're sort of like molesting them and like kissing them and stuff, and none of them really seem into it, which is the weird thing. It's all like, man, we got like other things we gotta do and stuff like that. And then like Jesse walks out, and as he walks out of the dressing room where all of that's happening, he sees the youngest looking out of all of these girls, and instantly he's like, hey, what's up?
You want to meet the band?
I'm in a band. How's it going?
Yeah. And anyway, she gives them the warning.
Tomorrow night you're supposed to play at Grand Guignol.
You be there, little girl?
Don't come.
Why not?
They don't want you.
Who don't?
Just don't come. My father.
For no reason, just do not come to our town.
Yes.
They don't want you.
The town of, which we learned how to pronounce, Grand Guignol.
Grand Guignol.
Guignol, which is, do you know what Grand Guignol means?
I do not.
It is I'm going to look it up on Wikipedia. It's French for the Theater of the Great Puppet. It was a theater in a district of Paris, and it specialized in naturalistic horror shows. So I think that's why the term gets attributed to a lot of horror cinema.
I see. Okay. Well, now Hard Rock Zombies can join that illustrious club.
Which is interesting because the town is called Grand Guignol, but when we meet, I guess not like the family of serial killers, but when we meet everyone else who lives in the town, they're fairly conservative. Mm-hmm. And it's an odd name to give a town that's like, no rock music, no sex and drugs and whatnot. No eating drugs.
My National Enquirer says that musicians cannot play a single note unless they eat drugs first.
So, yeah, like, they actually do go to that town, and on the way, it is revealed to us, the audience, that Jesse knows a bass line that he learned from a book.
Which is never shown in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Did he learn the bass line? What I thought happened was he found a book with words that were like an Evil Dead type thing, where it's like, and I thought that was how the zombies got raised, that he wrote this song with these ancient Sumatran words or whatever.
He wrote music to lyrics he found in some weird
song.
song.
But it was confusing because later on he's just playing the bass line and he makes things reanimated. Yeah. So I didn't understand that.
No.
Sounds pretty weird. What is it?
Got it from a book. A who? A book, you know? Book. Shit. Said in the Middle Ages, they used music to raise the dead.
Raise the dead? What for?
Probably to mop your floors or paint your house. Fuck your wife.
On their way, they pick up a beautiful hitchhiker who is sort of just like the lure to get people to go to the murder mansion of her weird family.
We see her in the opening doing that exact thing, like hitchhiking, getting picked up by two guys, and then they go skinny dipping, and then she murders them
with her weird friends, her weird
brothers, uncle,
like
all part of the family. One of whom takes photos and is super pervy, and the other two are two little people,
and they don't take photos. And
one with an eye patch, and one who's just a
ghoul mask.
just a horrible little monster with lizard skin and fangs.
Yeah.
And it's never addressed.
And they really serve no purpose in the movie other than to, like, remind you that, hey, things are weird.
Yeah.
It's a strange town full of strange people. God, so, like, they get to the town, they get arrested on the spot for, I guess,
being rock and rollers.
For, like, disturbing the peace or whatever.
Well, the girl that they pick up, who's part of the killer family, she says, "Don't go to the hotel. Come and stay in my family's house. And it's because it's cheap. We won't charge you anything." And they're all like, "Yeah, you're hot, so let's go and do that." And then we meet the rest of the family.
Like the weird werewolf mother and...
There's a weird werewolf grandma, a bald dude who loves, like, axes and blades and stuff.
And looking menacing.
The grandfather who we were going to talk about later for a very specific reason. But then... The other weird thing is, so they go to this house, but then the next time we see them, they're in town, and they're sort of delighting the various townsfolk with their rock and roll antics. It's shot like a music video.
Cut to music video.
But it's not a music video. It's just them doing shit.
It's them gallivanting around acting like a bunch of jackasses to the delight of the children and the chagrin of all the men.
Yeah.
All the old men hate these guys, and it's revealed multiple times in repeating shots of the disgruntled sheriff and a bunch of other guys.
It's so like this movie reuses so much material, but this initial non-music video is so funny because it's just shots of the band cavorting around and being rapscallions, and then various townsfolk going, oh, those antics are something I can get behind. These young men are delightful. And then it'll occasionally cut over to, like, the four old men of the town just, like, shaking their heads like, I don't really like this. But then, near the end of this music video, which again is a full song, which goes on for...
But it's a bad song!
At least... like 4 to 5 minutes. Near the end of the song, they run out of footage of, like, the old disgruntled men. So they reuse it, but they reuse it back to back. So there'll be a shot of, like, the sheriff with the sunglasses on. He's got his arm crossed, and he's shaking his head. And the next thing it cuts to is the reverse of that shot. So it's him looking to the left and shaking his head. Cut to him looking to the right and shaking his head. It's the same shot.
And I remind you, this movie was a movie within the movie of another movie, and they gave this movie more money so they could have more movie, and they just reused fucking shots.
Did they give it a lot of money?
I don't think
When you
so.
say they gave it more money to make it, did they mean like $50?
I don't
that
know.
They had that they found in like a car seat.
I gotta say though, like, there's a lot of this movie that I feel like if you could only catch it in chunks, you would be like, what the fuck kind of movie is this? And now, like, we're kind of seeing it, like, all stitched together, like, oh, maybe I didn't need to see this whole thing.
This is a movie best watched in chunks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a definite chunk movie.
So yeah, they get busted out of jail from their bail, which is only like...
No, they pay bail to be legally busted out of jail on some corrupt cops charges that don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
He accepts his bail money. It's, drat, you got me, kids. You paid bail, even though I threw you in jail for no reason.
Threw him in a barn.
Yeah. Their prison appears to be just like a random barn with bars on the wall.
Yeah, and then afterwards, like, before, like, they go back to the hotel, Jesse gives little Cassie a cassette saying, like, hey, I made you a mixtape. And no, he gives her a ring. Gives her a ring and acknowledges his feelings for her.
Yes. Much like the way we're acknowledging that police siren in the background that you're hearing.
Guilty,
because
we don't have my apartment and I left the door open.
And we don't have professional recording equipment, so.
Not at all. So they go back to the hotel and they are electrocuted in their first gig that they're playing.
They went back to the mansion.
They went back to the mansion.
That's what I meant by the hotel.
Yeah, that's what I meant by. They go back to
on purpose.
They go back to the murderer's mansion.
Well, no, they're electrocuted on purpose.
Yes, because the family's trying to kill them because they do not like that song that he wrote for Cassie, which is a little creepy.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they don't like the song because it's about a young underage girl. I think they just don't like the song because it's a terrible song.
I just took it as they're just trying to kill them.
Yeah,
I think you might be reading too much into this.
That's the point of the podcast.
I actually thought that when they were getting electrocuted, I thought that's how they were going to die. Because I knew that they were going to die. The movie's called Hard Rock Zombies. Mm-hmm. This is not what kills them. This is just kind of like a
we could kill you if we wanted to, but we're not gonna.
And they do.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, they kill them all one by one later that evening. Yeah, like one gets killed in the shower, one gets stabbed by the werewolf who's brandishing two switch knives.
Yeah. The old couple, we might as well get into this right now.
All right,
Kevin, do you want to? You kind of gave the game away earlier, but we might as well spoil this right. So there's the heads of the household, like the grandma and the grandpa, who we first see in their introductory scene having sex
in the throes of passion,
getting interrupted by the two little people, and they're like,
"Can't we watch, please?"
That's old Grandpa und Grandmama geschleckte Fruchenmachen. Shame.
And then eventually he's like,
all right, you can watch, but don't touch.
So
heavy German accents on the patriarch.
Yeah. So the grandmother,
why do you think that is?
Also a werewolf. But the grandfather
is Kevin.
Happens to be Hitler.
It's Hitler. Hitler is alive,
and not just Hitler, but Hitler hiding out in a small town in California, who's wearing a mask, so you can't tell it's him.
Was he wearing a mask?
He was.
I thought he just had a bigger mustache over his
full
Hitler
shot
mustache.
of him pulling the mask off.
But it's the same actor.
It's the same actor, but the shot was him pulling a mask off.
It is. It's the shot of him pulling the mask off to reveal not only is it Hitler, but he's kept the mustache the entire time.
Well, when you find a look that works for you, you really gotta, hold on to that.
And so now with that band out of the way, Hitler is now going to restart his fucking genocidal world.
But I want to talk about this dinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's like the order in which happens. So during the evening, the various members of the family all individually kill the 4 band members. The drummer gets into the shower with the sexy girl and she stabs him. You had a good point. Where did that knife come from?
Don't know.
I don't know. Oh, and one of them gets killed by the bald dude with a weed whacker. Remember the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Well, that's got nothing on the fucking California weed whacker
killings
scenario.
The California weed whacker scenario. That's our next band name.
It is.
So the 4 band members and the band manager are all staying in this house with the killers, and during the evening, all 4 of the band members, the band manager's meal ticket, are horrifically murdered. Mm-hmm. The very next scene is the killer family is having dinner or lunch in the middle of the afternoon, and they're going, well, what a shame that those 4 men were dead and their bodies are in the ground right now. And the band manager is just sitting at the table.
You're talking about my friends.
Was there no suspicion on his part that the 4 people that he came with were all horrifically murdered? Mm-hmm. And no, he's just sitting there and he thinks nothing's wrong. Mm-hmm. And it's only when Grandpa reveals himself to be Hitler that he goes, oh, you people are crazy!
Oh, what the fuck have I stepped into?
Hitler, that's one thing, but what?
And I was thinking, they kill the whole band, they leave the band manager alive. I'm like, why? Why did they... But then they answer that.
Yeah,
because Hitler wanted to offer him a job.
Yeah.
But why?
But they never really specify what the job is. He just says, you're a good young man, I have a job for you.
Working in his gas basement.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Hitler has a gas basement, and he has 2 different types of gas. He has yellow gas and he has blue gas. And I wrote... the yellow gas, split
your head.
And the other one filled your lungs with piss and pus.
He said the blue gas fills your lungs with pus and urine. And I'm just like, your own? Or it materializes piss and urine within your lungs. That's a pretty fascinating gas. I'd like to know how you made that, Mr. Hitler. But I mean, like, in terms of, like, going back a bit, in terms of, like, you know, not explaining anything, you know, they get to, like, this small town, and they're like, we have a show that we gotta play, and they run to the authority figures, and the authority figures are like, you're not playing any show, we're running you out of here. They have, like, a big town meeting, and they decide, no rock and roll music.
They smash all their records, they smash all their radios.
It goes so far that it's no rock and roll music for anyone ever, and they burn all the rock and roll music. My question is, who booked them?
Not a very good band manager.
Yeah.
Clearly booked them a show in a town that doesn't research.
But he must have talked to someone. He must have talked to a club owner. Or someone.
They were meeting that record company executive. Did he pick the spots? Did he pick, like, this out of the, like, in the fucking backwoods?
Yeah, I guess, they meet like a record executive for an audition, but the audition seemed like a separate thing from the show, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
I took it to mean that he was showing up to the show, and he was going to sit in the audience and be like, oh, I'll judge them quietly while they play.
Right. And then he shows up later, and he's the only one there, and he doesn't find that odd.
No,
that's show business.
Whatsoever.
Yeah. So anyways, I guess at one point during, like, the massacre, Jesse does give Cassie the cassette tape.
He says something along the lines of, anything happens to me, play this. And you're supposed to believe it's either his song he wrote for her.
It's like, no, it's his radio demo. Like, get this on air.
Get this to the radio.
Because he knew that it reanimated dead flesh.
He had done a small science experiment with that spider he smashed.
Right.
And then he kept bringing it back to life only to kill it again. And bring it back to life.
What I love is that that's set up really early in the movie when they're in the van, before they've picked up the hitchhiker, and then a fly is bothering the band manager as he's driving.
Yeah.
And Jesse's just in the back doing his bass line, and there's literally a line of dialogue.
Oh, right.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like this music might be bringing it back to life. Then quit.
That's a miracle of science! What the fuck? Like, nobody finds that odd.
Just
no one finds that odd at all.
Stupid.
He has discovered a baseline that brings back, that reanimates dead flesh, and he approaches it with, like, the enthusiasm of,
well, turn that music. Well, could you stop? So yeah, she plays the music and revives the band, and they all bust out of their shallow graves.
We're buried in very shallow graves.
They weren't buried at all, but like someone just threw dirt on them.
Yeah, they didn't have the budget for deep holes, you know? And also, they probably weren't paying those actors anything, and all 4 of them collectively were probably all, you can bury us up to here. Yeah. We're not going any deeper than that.
I am not climbing out of a 6-foot. So yeah, they come back to life, they start robo-walking, and they're all dressed like Kiss.
For some reason.
One guy's just like one of the village people.
That's a weird thing. So their band style is generic 80s band member stuff. And then they're killed and they're buried, and when they're reanimated, they all have Kiss makeup on.
Because now they're undead. I don't know. I don't know much about Kiss. I don't know if like their shtick was they were undead.
No, I don't think they're undead.
All right, Kiss lesson time.
Oh!
All right. So Kiss, going back to when they were big, originally people suspected it stood for Knights in Satan's
Service.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'm guessing maybe the director took that as a cue to be like, well, if you're in Satan's service, you wear pale makeup and cat whiskers?
And a star on your
head? One of them's the cat, one of them's the Starman, Gene Simmons is the demon, and then there's the 4th one.
There's actually a few that rotate through Kiss.
But they've taken the personas stayed the same.
No, they've changed their personas.
Oh, have they? I was under the assumption that they were all playing. Oh, okay.
If you look them up on the Wikipedia, they do have different personas.
On the Kissopedia?
Yeah, the Kissopedia. But I guess the director was like, well, if you're, in Satan's service, you gotta wear. You look like Kiss.
So they're reanimated with
the darker Satan worshipping undead bands all have pale makeup, and one guy's wearing a construction hat.
Yeah, Kiss is actually a perfect metaphor for this movie because people associate Kiss with Satan and with hard rock, but Kiss is actually a fairly fluffy band if you listen to them. The music does not match the attire.
Yeah,
actually, what a perfect metaphor. This is
they are the hard rock zombies.
They are the hard rock zombies. This should have just been a vehicle for Kiss.
Oh, I'm surprised it wasn't, actually.
It very well could have been originally.
The acting would have been exactly the same, probably. It would have been better or worse.
They wouldn't have to do much. They'd have to, play a couple of shows, robot walk to a couple of people, kill them, and then play some more rock. They have no lines of dialogue after they're dead.
Oh, yeah. Well, except for Jesse who can sing. That's the whole thing we gotta get into, too.
So they go back to the murder mansion, they murder they kill Hitler in this movie.
This is what is so unbelievable about this movie. First, I was startled by the revelation that Adolf Hitler is the antagonist in this movie.
You're welcome for that surprise, by the way.
It was
so happy I kept that
jaw-dropping. And then what's even more shocking is that in almost no time, midway through the movie, they dispatch Hitler and his entire brood of crazy serial killer family members, I guess for the purposes of turning them into zombies. So they're all, reanimated into zombies and they join the zombie
point when you guys asked me, how much time is left in this movie? And I'm
any other movie, that'd be the
so
end.
Much.
They kill Hitler, they kill Mama
Where do you go from killing Hitler?
And you figure, that's it.
I knew it's done. Tarantino knew to finish Inglourious Bastards after that.
No, we had this question while watching the movie. I don't think it answered it. Was werewolf grandma Eva Braun, or was she just
loosely implied that it was? But I mean, is that really the thing you're asking the biggest questions about?
It was loosely implied it was by the Hasidic stereotype who just knew everything about
the town secret.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then died immediately.
Yeah. Man, that's a good time. Let's talk about some of the colorful characters that make up this town, including an ancient old Jewish from the top of the mountain kind of guy.
Who casually mentions, "Hey, did I never tell you guys that Hitler's hiding here?"
Now everything revealing from many years. Adolf Hitler, Eva Braun, they making deal with Truman to saving their miserable lives. They sneaking here and making them new identity. As the retired Bible salesman from Brooklyn. Then wrath of God dropping boom on their stinking heads. Terribly well. Making them ghouls. Living ghouls. Ghouls begetting ghouls.
I always meant to, but you know what? It never came up in the town
meeting. We have to deal with rock and roll first.
For the first time, it's been relevant.
He's wearing the black robes. He has a long white beard. He's got the crooked staff that he used to walk around on. He's from a Shakespearean play. This guy, what the fuck is he doing in this town?
Yeah, Shylock just showed up out of nowhere, and then he tells everyone that Hitler has this plan, and then he has a heart attack, but then right as he has a heart attack, this choir pipes in and starts going hallelujah. And it's all guys, Jewish.
Yeah.
That's not the right song to be playing in this moment. I guess it is. I don't know. Whatever. But
there's the town sheriff who's just the stereotypical gang or the chain gang kind of supervisor. You boys stop playing that rock and roll in my town.
I think his name was Sheriff Goering.
Yeah.
Which again is oh, okay. So wait, is he meant to be the Nazi Goering, or is that just a coincidence? I don't know.
They never mention how Hitler doesn't really age.
Nope, not really.
But if that is Eva Braun, she did age and become a werewolf.
Yeah. Which that is definitely
No. The Hasidic gentleman said that. Okay, he said that they made a deal with Truman to escape.
Who was not the president during.
That's right, actually.
That was FDR.
That's right, oh my god. Yeah, but they made a deal to move to California, but somewhere along the line they became ghouls.
Mm-hmm. And they say, how did they become ghouls, and he dies before they can
Right,
answer that.
right.
Because,
and then they say, like, how do you know this? And he dies before he can answer
yeah,
that.
he dies like 3 times in that scene.
Yeah,
They shake him.
They keep shaking him back into coherence.
Yeah, because, CPR, no. Shake him to get the blood flowing again.
Elderly Jewish guy, you gotta shake him to
Yeah.
get some answers out of him.
Shake him like a dreidel, which is not a thing you shake.
Oh boy. Shake, shake, shake it up, baby. That's a song in the movie. And the other town folks are
Shake your old Jewish man!
The other town folks are just like, like the stuttering man, like the intellectual who, like, gives everyone the wrong
I'm glad
advice.
the stuttering guy didn't have very much dialogue.
Yeah, highly religious guy who has a Bible and at one point uses it to hit zombies.
Yeah.
Sure.
And another elderly Jewish guy. Who is the same actor wearing the same mask, only without the long white beard. Now it's just like a handlebar mustache.
There's this couple we see, like, romancing each other in the woods, and then one of the little people zombies comes over.
Oh, by the way, the band, when they kill the guys, they turn them into zombies, and now the town is...
Yes, well, I believe that was implied. I mean, I had that question watching it, too, is because they become reanimated because of the song, and they appear to be non-threatening zombies. They're undead, but they don't go around eating brains. They kill the people who killed them, and then after that, they don't murder anyone else.
No.
But everyone they kill becomes zombies, and then those zombies
make more zombies.
He gets more zombies, yes. But yeah, there's like this couple, the guy gets beheaded, and then the woman proceeds to just scream and hold the head and run around for the entire rest of the movie, and you think maybe that's just like a one-time joke. No, she's in 2 other scenes, and it's just the same joke over and over again.
They keep going back to the well for that fucking bitch.
She's got her boyfriend's head, but she treats it like it's not a severed head. She just treats it like another woman picks it up at one point. She's like, "Give me that! What were you doing looking at her, you bum?" And it's like, okay, ha 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 ha.
Like his head's rolling down the street, and she's like, "Arnold, where are you going?" Oh boy,
lots of characters. Lots of characters in this movie.
Oh, they make their gig.
They make their and really. That's what was the most important thing, is that they make their gig. They make their gig, the agent is there. The
agent's probably my favorite character.
I like the agent quite a bit, yeah. Because, like everyone else in this movie, he's completely oblivious to the fact that he's seeing zombies up there. And
hey guys, great makeup. Hey, you're doing fantastic up there.
He appears to have his own landline that he's constantly talking into. I don't know where that came from. Like, he's watching it, he's snapping his fingers, he's doing like a little Carlton dance in his seat, and then he'll pick up the phone, he'll call someone and be like, "Sign these guys up, I don't give a crap, you piece of shit, do it now!" And then he hangs up, and then he pushes a button, and the landline is now...
a microphone.
It's now an intercom.
Yeah.
What? Where did that fucking phone come from? And why does it have so many uses?
This guy's gotta be a really shitty record company executive because he loves these guys. And it's one of the lamest fucking shows, and they're playing the fucking pedo song that they made for Cassie.
Now, what I will say is that, because they go, it's not really an audition anymore, it's, they go and they do their entire set. So we have to sit and watch them play all of their songs pretty much in their entirety.
Songs that we have already heard.
But what I will say is that as the set goes on, it does occasionally, accidentally, sound like they might be playing hard rock. It's the only time when it vaguely sounds like something akin to Motorhead or AC/DC or something like that, but only just barely. So they almost got there, but too little too late. So much seems to happen in this movie. So we got the agent and watching the hard rock zombies, and we keep intercutting with shenanigans with the townsfolk, and they're trying to avoid the zombies, but it keeps failing, and they get turned into zombies. And then all of a sudden, all of the zombies show up at the concert, and they all clamor on stage.
Oh, I think you have to go a little further back before they get there. Their decision to defeat the zombies by using their heads.
I mean, that was so stupid, but why don't you break that down for us?
So at some point, the religious leader, who I don't know if is in any part of the movie other
was
than...
Was he a religious leader?
He had the Bible. I think he was reading something.
He was reading a book. Was it the Bible?
I thought he was like the town, like, intellectual, because he was always like, the power of the mind prevails.
He sounded like
all.
the town brainiac. Yeah, that's what
Either
it
way,
was to me.
the movie doesn't go into depth into his character.
Doesn't even know shit, but
No.
anyway.
So he decides at some point that these zombies are... No, he calls them ghouls.
Ghouls.
He says that the ghouls are afraid of the brains, and it's the only thing they're not eating, which is kind of...
The heads.
The heads.
Yes.
Because it's the home of intellectualism, because the brain lives there.
Mm-hmm.
So he has the bright idea of outfitting the townsfolk in large two-dimensional heads of celebrities. Somehow along the way he got a printer and printed out these photos of Madonna and John Lennon.
They had them before?
Maybe.
I don't know, but
And then it's arts and crafts time.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they outfit these two-dimensional paper photos with yarn
Yeah,
hair.
it's it's the stupidest idea I've ever heard in my life. But for some reason, they print out like these giant photos of Jimi Hendrix and Marilyn Monroe and John Lennon, and their plan is to walk out into the zombies with these in front of them, and the zombies won't want to eat them because they have big heads. But along the way, someone got the idea, you know what this is missing? Some yarn.
Yeah.
Some yarn right here,
Just a little
and it's just a little touch here, and it's,
it's almost good that this plan fails immediately.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't even work for half a second.
The zombies just kind of literally walk around them and go, oh, wait a second. There's not a giant head on this side.
It is.
It's a human.
It would be, if that worked, and that would be what ends up killing the zombies. Like I said, like, it reminded me of, like, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and there was something stupid in that that ended up killing the tomatoes as well. I can't remember what it is. Oh, but, like, it's a variation on Mars Attacks. Do you ever see that?
Yeah, but what are you talking about?
The aliens are unstoppable until they find that one country song.
Oh yeah,
that it just blows their brains up. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
so if it was like this one, like you would never thought of it in a million years, and it's like
yeah, it's the dumbest thing.
It's secret.
So it is good that it doesn't work, and it turns them all into zombies immediately.
Because you know what, those dumb ideas do work, like in some of those movies you're talking about, and I kind of like it. They were like,
I think this movie predates a lot lot of those movies that I just mentioned, though, too. So
good for them.
Good for them. A real trailblazer. This movie.
So now there are even more zombies because their plan failed horribly, and then at some point the zombies grab the giant heads. And use it to trick a human into thinking they're human.
That was the intellectual, and he was like, I knew it would work, I saved you all, and then the zombies slowly lower the heads.
Oh, no!
And then right before he gets devoured, he goes,
"Don't believe everything you read!"
There's a lot of,
That's the type of humor we're working with here.
There's a lot of those kind of gags, though. Like, the one part where, the band's manager, goes down the stairs and he runs into some zombies, so he just pretends to be a zombie and they leave him alone.
That was funny. That was a joke that I wish they had actually gone a little further with, because we've certainly seen that because there's so many zombie comedies. Zomcoms. And occasionally rom-coms. And so we've certainly seen that in things with, like, Shaun of the Dead, where you have to pretend to be a zombie. You know, Walking Dead has done that, where you have to pretend to be a zombie. And there's this funny moment when the band manager is coming down the stairs and there's a whole bunch of zombies there, and he just goes, "Urgh!" and they leave him alone. But then a random janitor comes down the hallway and is all like, "Hey guys, what's up?" Ah! And he starts getting devoured by the zombies. And then the band manager realizes, to keep this charade up, I'm gonna have to eat this guy. And that could potentially be a really funny scene, but they don't go far enough with it, which is a bit of a shame.
I think he leans over to grab something and then it's just, no.
And then he just runs away, But, how funny would it be if he had to try to, bite, a chunk out of, this man? It would be really dark. But,
I would say, that's pretty gruesome for my taste.
I don't know, it's hard rock zombies.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. All morality's thrown out the window here. So anyways, the band leaves the gig without signing a record deal. They just wanted to play.
I also want to say, talking about wasted opportunities, that was another massive wasted opportunity. The movie's called Hard Rock Zombies. And in the beginning of the third act, the Hard Rock Zombies which I just realized is the name of the band, is they're doing a concert, and your comedy brain starts thinking, oh, there's so much potential about a zombie rock band. The drummer could be playing and his arm could fall off, and then he picks his arm up and he starts playing the drums with his severed arm, or something,
like Jesse, when he sings, it sounds like...
Yeah, that was like, there'll be like a big lead up to the song, it'll be like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then he comes up to the microphone and he just goes, but no, none of that. They just play their same shitty music the way they would if they were human. And while I really want to like this movie for how fucking stupid it is, I gotta ding it a lot of points because honestly...
They didn't swing for the fences?
They really could have gone a lot farther with some of these jokes.
Yeah.
And I was just counting on my hands, wasted potential. Yeah. That was a gag that they could have gone for. And they just didn't.
Instead they had to cut back weird, silly old Jewish man caricatures.
Or the ghoulish guy eating himself.
Okay. Now, you guys set this one up, because alright, throughout the last half of the movie, scenes keep intercutting to shots of the little person actor with a weird mask on eating himself.
And he starts with his hand.
And
then it cuts away from him for like 10, 15
minutes.
What
the fuck, that was weird.
And
whatever.
And he's being very delicate about it. He's adding salt and mustard and condiments.
Yeah, he starts with mustard on his hand. Sure. Okay.
Yeah. And you're like, that's weird, whatever. And then the movie goes on. And then, 10 minutes later, it goes back to him. And
now he's on his feet.
Now he's eating his feet. And alright. And then the movie goes back to, the action of the zombies and stuff in the band. And then it goes back to him, and he's, onto his, upper torso now. And, the movie is almost bookmarked by, where this guy is in the stages of eating himself.
With no context to anything, or no effect on any other character.
He's just the one undead character who, when he woke up, decided he would eat himself rather than other people.
He was hungry and couldn't catch anyone. And he,
well, the other little person didn't seem to have any trouble. No,
he had a machete.
The other one is a literal gargoyle, so I have a feeling he would have some tricks up his sleeve. I mean, it's that age-old quandary of, if a snake ate its own tail, how far would it get before it had to stop at some point, because it couldn't swallow itself whole. It would have to stop at a certain point.
But this movie answers that, because the skull will devour the skin off the face
and then belch.
Yes.
Yeah. I did like that. I thought that was
so fucked though.
It was so stupid, and it didn't match
with
a
weird
else.
Puppet mask thing eating itself over classy piano music. That is one of the weirdest fucking things that has been burned in my memory. I'll never forget it.
I feel like they made this little ghoul character and they couldn't figure out what to do with him, so they just said, let's just have him eat himself.
Yeah.
Who even cares?
So
where were we?
To get rid of the zombies, the town resorts to a very classless thing to do.
Well, I don't see. They keep coming up with these theories about how to get rid of the zombies, and they keep reading from books. What are these books? Where are they getting these books from about zombie? All of a sudden, they're held up in this meeting hall, but they just happen to have all these books on how to get rid of zombies. But one of them reads in. Well, he doesn't read. It's the old Austrian man. I don't know who he was. There's another
guy who talks like this.
He says the only way to get rid of zombies is to sacrifice
a virgin.
A virgin.
Sacrifice a virgin. A what? A virgin.
You don't know
virgin. Oh yeah.
In Soviet Russia. Yeah. But it's not enough that they sacrifice the virgin to this. Also, no points to guessing who the virgin is going to end up being.
Was it the girl who's dressed in all white throughout the whole movie?
And is repeatedly referred to as a little girl. Yeah. But they're not just going to sacrifice her and then eat her. They specifically say these zombies are going to, because it's that's the only way that they can have sex.
They can reproduce.
It's with zombies.
Which is literally dialogue. He says that's the only way they can have sex. It's okay. Apparently now it's okay.
Wasn't the line that's the only way they can reproduce?
No,
that's bullshit, because zombies reproduce by biting people and making more zombies.
Yeah. It's this is the only... I've watched a lot of zombie movies, and this is the only time that I can think of where we've introduced zombies having sex with something. Does Reanimator count? I don't know if those are zombies in a technical sense, but I've never heard of a subplot in a zombie movie where it's just a zombie gangbang.
Mm-hmm.
Zombies have other things on their mind. They don't care about...
They have other minds on their minds.
That's right. They have other minds
minds.
in their mouths.
Yeah. So,
good one, Kaz.
So Ronnie, the manager, gets wind of that and says, "You can't do that. Hey, Cassie, wait here with these townsfolk that want to sacrifice you. I'll take care of everything."
Well, he doesn't say wait here. They kind of have her hostage.
Yeah.
And he kind of runs away.
He runs to the manager who's like already zombified.
Who's now a zombie.
For some reason. So we get like a really Marx Brothers-esque gag where like he can't see that he's a zombie.
Oh, let's not drag the name of the Marx Brothers through the mud.
Piece of shit.
It's more like a disaster movie type scenario.
So he goes to the band for help, and
who for some reason have reburied themselves.
Yeah, their mission's done. They played their gig.
They killed Hitler. That's enough for anyone.
Yeah.
What did you do today?
That's a full day.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's a full day.
So they come back to life, and they play their music to summon all the zombies to Hitler's gas chamber,
which works for some reason.
Why did that work? See, that's the thing is they have this song with like the occult lyrics that I'm going to assume is what reanimates the dead flesh, but they play it. And I guess actually
in the middle of the desert.
Now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe it does make sense because it's obviously like ancient words or whatever, and that would probably draw the undead towards them. Okay, sure,
yeah,
why not?
Yeah.
You know what? Who fucking cares at this
right.
point? I mean, this movie makes so little sense. I need to back up just because this is what I wanted to talk about. Back when they're doing like the concert, the only two people in the audience are the agent, but right at the back, Cassie has also snuck in, and she's kind of just hiding behind a bunch of seats.
Oh, she's fantasizing about her wedding with Jesse, where he's wearing that bitchin' white suit.
That's right.
With his ascot.
That's right.
And
if the day ever comes where I get married, I'm wearing that fucking suit. I'm sorry, Sherry.
You're having a hard rock zombie themed wedding.
I'm gonna have like a bad movie themed wedding where like I'm gonna dress in that tuxedo. It's gonna be set in Aspen, Aspen Extreme.
Please don't.
I'm gonna have the cake from Bronx Warrior. And I'm going to be sent off to like missionary or mercenary man.
Now I'm into this.
Yeah.
Okay. I do like this, and I apologize in advance.
But sorry, to your point.
My points are oh yeah. So when the Hard Rock Zombies are playing their concert, and the other zombies, Hitler and the other zombies, come in and they kind of storm the stage. And the agent thinks that's just part of the show. Obviously, Cassie is the one who's, like in the back, and she can see this all happen too. And then within a scene, all of a sudden, all of the zombies are behind her at the back of the theater. Now, I understand that this is a stupid movie and a lot of things don't make any sense. That in particular makes no fucking sense.
Defies physics.
They just teleported behind her for some reason.
These zombies can teleport.
Okay, done.
Yeah,
I'll buy it.
Sense.
Why not? All right, sure.
Yeah,
one of them's Hitler, which is less believable.
In this movie, we have
one of them's Hitler, and one of them is a werewolf in a wheelchair. Who's also Ava Braun.
Yeah, a werewolf Ava Braun that needs switch knives to kill people because a werewolf.
Yeah, that's another weird thing too. She turns into a werewolf, but her weapon of choice is just like a regular knife.
You're gonna mug him.
You're a werewolf.
Mug him.
I love the werewolf transformation too. It's literally an old woman in a wheelchair. She bends down, the camera cuts to a different shot, and it's a different actor in a werewolf
like
mask.
leans back up. So good. So they lead him to the gas chamber, they turn on the gas, and that's it. All the zombies die.
All the zombies get led into the Hitler set-up gas chamber with their weird music that they follow.
Their lungs fill with urine and pus.
And vinegar.
And we only see Hitler's face split apart, but
that's
barely.
I can live with that.
Because the thing we haven't mentioned yet is that, once again, we find ourselves with a movie so incompetently shot, we can barely see anything that happens in the majority of this movie.
The best example being the chainsaw chase, which ended up being a weed whacker.
Yeah.
But for a solid 90 seconds of this chase, all you hear is noise, and you assume it's a chainsaw by the way he's moving it around. Ends up being a weed whacker.
Yeah, the moment you see like actually decent lighting is when it's like, oh, that's not impressive whatsoever.
No. I guess I'm assuming you're roughly our age, so you're probably born around like the mid 80s.
No, I'm way younger.
Oh, okay.
Considerably.
So
Much.
then I'm the oldest person here.
Oh, don't be so full of yourself.
But like none of us were ever alive for that period in time, I feel, when weed whackers were these massively dangerous things with spinning blades that you could, like, which were essentially just deadly fucking weapons, because weed whackers for us were the little fiber things that you couldn't, that couldn't.
It hurt like a bitch when they hit you.
But but it's akin to someone just like slapping you really hard.
Yeah,
and just like, ow, fuck off. Well, yeah, no, weed whackers used to be crazy fucking dangerous. Jason had a weed whacker in one of the Friday the 13th, I remember.
A good movie. Or a better movie than this.
Yes, a better movie than this, yes.
And the movie ends with Cassie visiting Jesse's grave, and his hand bursts out of the grave with the ring. And
Which also makes no sense, because this gas killed them all.
Yeah, they just...
Yeah, but the hard rock zombies seem to be a different breed of zombie than everyone else.
They were animated by the music originally.
And also, when the gas pours into the room, all the other zombies writhe around in pain and their faces explode. The four of them die on their feet, and they just close their eyes. Not so much that the gas is affecting them, but more so like, our work is done.
Yeah.
And they just die standing up.
They're not the drooling, slack-jaw, shuffling kind of zombies. They're very kind of stoic-faced. They're robot walking
and
around.
Can play rock and roll.
They can sing.
Very coordinated. Yeah. Which gives me my question for you guys. Would you consider these guys actors who played musicians, or do you think they were musicians first who were thrown into acting roles?
I would call them neither.
That's disappointing.
I mean, I would say that they were musicians before they were actors.
See, that's what I was thinking.
But I'm also not calling them good musicians.
The one thing I give them credit for and why I think they're musicians first was if you watch them playing their instruments, they're playing their instruments for the most part. The guy playing the synth is legit hitting the right keys.
Sure, okay, I'll buy that they were musicians.
Even like some higher budget films with musicians in them, sometimes you can tell they're not.
I mean, like...
They've never held a guitar before in their life.
It wasn't perfect. There were shots where, like, you know, you could hear the music and the drummer is not keeping up with the beat, but that's not their fault.
That's not the drummer's
That's more of an editing thing, yeah.
Though it was most noticeable when he was a zombie and moving all stiff and they were doing, like, this huge drum fill. Alright, well, I think that's really it for the plot of this movie.
Let's see, was there anything else that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about? I wrote the very first note that I wrote down is that, Jameson, you seem to always show me movies that start immediately. Like, no production company logo, no establishing scene, just like, title!
You think a company was responsible for this? No, it was one guy, Krishna Shah, or Kirshna Shah.
That's the other thing! That's the other thing. The credits start at the end, and they start rolling up, and it says, produced and directed by Krishna Shah, and then the very next credit immediately after that, where it's a rolling scroll so we can see the name above it.
Under where it says written by...
It says Krishna Shah.
Yeah.
Maybe, hey, you know what?
You wrote and directed the damn thing, buddy.
Maybe it was... Well, he wasn't in charge of whoever wrote the credits. That's a different person who dropped that particular ball. I like the line when they're talking about sacrificing Cassie to the zombies, and they're saying, the zombies are gonna have their way with her, and then they're gonna eat her. And then the bad manager says, "Oh, that's just an old wives' tale." I'd love to hear the old wives that particularly tell the tale about zombies who rape and then eat.
If you leave your virgins tied to a tree at the top of a mountain, the zombies are gonna ravage her or whatever.
Is there a collection of specifically old wives' tales?
There are. Most of them are to deal with, the cold, common flus.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not so much for zombie attacks.
Rub a lemon on your chest to stave off herpes.
A cow sitting down means it's going to rain.
Stuff like that.
You know what else was a missed opportunity that I just realized right now? The little person zombie jumped on top of a cow
and there was
bit a cow, and there was no zombie cow
that we know of. Sequel.
Hard Rock Zombies is a movie filled with missed opportunities.
Kevin, do you have anything that you wanted to bring up in your notes?
Man, I think we kind of hit on most of my topics. Lack of subtlety. That was a big one. At one point, Hitler's like making a YouTube video or something. I don't know. He's like broadcasting to nobody. He says that the time for wearing masks is over.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got a map behind him with swastikas all over the different continents. That went nowhere.
No.
And
it wasn't even that much of a detailed map. There was only like 3 swastikas that went up.
One on North America and Asia.
We're going to get Poland because I have a score to settle with them. Somewhere in Africa and here. And that's it.
Yeah,
we're good.
Russia, sure.
We're good.
And basically, you know, I mean, when you're making a film or any kind of story, you have your 3 acts, beginning, middle, end, and such. This seemed to have about 12.
Yeah, this had a lot of acts.
You got some of them are long that last like way too long. Some of them are like 5 minutes long, where they introduce a character and that character's dead in the next shot, or they have a great idea on how to solve the zombie crisis, and that's done.
That doesn't work. Yeah,
they are introducing new plot points, and then introducing new interesting camera shots. And
sure, let's call it that.
Yeah,
a lot of tipsy-turvy, upside-down-y camera shots as well.
Yeah,
to convey confusion,
to convey that he didn't have a tripod.
Yeah,
terror.
Yeah, and you could tell a lot of this was shot under the kind of impression of we're going to do it once and we're going to get it, and if we don't, we got it anyway. Boom mic falling into the camera. Shots done entirely in the dark, where the actors move further away from camera, further into the dark.
There was a lot of stumbling over lines, particularly in that town hall scene.
Which was great. That might be the best scene.
It is.
Because like all those actors are like playhouse actors, I feel, and like they seem to really enjoy like slipping into different roles.
They appear to be in a literal playhouse in that scene. Yes.
Would you recommend Hard Rock Zombies?
You go first.
I'd say you'd have to watch it in the same kind of way we did, with having no idea that Hitler's going to pop up. Because at that point, it's like, okay, it's a bad movie with, you know, a bad rock band trying to have their break. It's like, I've seen this before. But then Hitler shows up.
Yeah. That was pretty genuinely great.
That's when you're like, okay, this is that movie.
What a twist.
I think if you can watch it in that light, then sure, I'd recommend it.
I feel like that's a huge caveat we keep falling into every time we get to this segment on the show where we ask, would you watch this movie? And I feel like it's the answer always inevitably is yes, if you're with friends. But if you just want to watch something ironically on your own, I wouldn't recommend.
You would have to endure 10 minutes of music video, and not poor acting necessarily, but poorly recorded acting.
Not even music video. Like right before they're reanimated and they're brought back to life, there's like a 5-minute just flashback of all of the movie we've seen, and it goes on.
When they're killing everybody who killed them, the director decides to show flashbacks of them dying, which literally happened.
In very jarring cuts, too, so it's hard to watch in itself.
Yeah, there's a lot of it that just kind of rambles on, and watch it with friends, don't watch it by yourself.
And it's something that I found out this morning when I was just doing like a last little bit of research. The actress who played Cassie never appeared in a movie again, and I think her parents may have had a lot to do with that.
Did you just look her up? I'd wager if you looked up a lot of the actors in this movie, most of them probably didn't go on to do anything else.
Well, there's the guy who went on to Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, he had. I mean, it is tough for people of that stature to be actors in the industry because you get stuck with a lot of shit roles like this. But the flip side of that is you work a lot more than a lot of other actors. You just kind of have to decide whether or not you're above it. I didn't mean for that. I didn't mean for that.
Very diplomatic.
I didn't mean for that to be a joke, but as I was saying it, I realized, oh my god, it's right there. It's right there. On that note, Kevin, thank you for
lending your time
on the podcast.
Good use of my night, guys.
Yes. Do you got anything coming up you want to talk about?
I think Jameson's kind of dropped it on the Bigfoot cartoon. Yes. Talked about that. I don't know. I'm just always working on different things, so I'm going to plug the Twitter handle because it's the most up to date, I guess, of most things. Just Kevin_Getz. Getz. Super simple. If I'm going to do anything interesting, it'll be posted there.
Right on. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your stuff in Toronto. Satellite radio through...
Satellite, you have the internet. You don't need satellites.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I don't know. When's this being...
this will probably be out
September.
In October. September. Yeah.
Okay, then cool. Then I've been doing this for months now at this point. It's going super well. I'm going to be on 102.1 The Edge in Toronto hosting various shows, evenings, weekends, whenever. So if you're ever in Toronto or have the internet handy,
Or a satellite.
Or a satellite. You can listen to me on the radio.
Yeah, right.
Talk about many things that aren't this movie.
Right on.
That's awesome.
Cool.
And I will also just say that if you're listening to this in early September, come to the Vancouver Fringe, where I will be in Amelie the Musical from the 6th until the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
All right, do you got anything? You mentioned your Sasquatch thing. So
yeah, we're doing our Bigfoot cartoon, and that'll probably be out sometime in 2020.
I'm going to say 2020-ish.
Yeah. My God, when did we first have a meeting about this? Like 2015?
October 2017.
Something like it seems like it's been a while since we've been cooking this. So
the build-up for it is going to be huge, because we're gonna mention it on every episode.
Absolutely.
So when it finally hits, it will have... Mm-hmm. Tens of views.
And then
within
next
the
week,
first...
you can do your own episode of the podcast on it.
Yeah.
It'll be super fun.
That's right.
Tear it apart.
Well, to be fair, we know what the fuck that is, though.
It's amazing.
It's literally...
the greatest film ever created.
The greatest 50-minute...
Yeah. Take my word for it when I say it will be the greatest
ever
piece
made.
of animated filmmaking ever done by humans.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, literally no one can wait. Mm-hmm. Everyone's salivating to get that Bigfoot cartoon. Okay.
You sound sarcastic.
I'm not. I have a vested interest in
you're in this cartoon.
I'm in it. I have a vested success in
Are you trying to get not invited back for the sequel? Is that what this is?
Oh, wow. There's already sequel talk.
There's a sequel?
It's going to be a prequel, actually. That's the trendy kind of thing.
I just kind of feel like, based on how long you've told me you guys have worked on this,
it's really real. It's gonna happen.
I genuinely might not be alive when the sequel happens. Yeah. So
I think it's kind of a marketing ploy at this point. Like, is Bigfoot real? Is the cartoon real? Like, you'll find out.
It's like you bury the cartoon in the woods, and people have
somebody
to go,
will find
searching
it
for it.
And then one of us will come out dressed in like a gorilla suit and beat with a shovel or something. Just throw that out.
That's how I die.
For legal purposes, that's not what's going to happen.
That is not me in the gorilla suit.
Yeah.
All right, we'll catch you next time for another round of the 2 months of Halloween spooktacular, or whatever we're calling this. We will...
the fright is this.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That one,
Maybe we'll do some... I'll start brainstorming some variations on that. I like that. All right, great. We'll catch you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.